Are Zote's 57 precepts good advice? I know it sounds unreasonable, but hear me out. Much of what Zote says is indeed nonsense, but some of his rules may have some merit to them. Let's examine each of the 57 precepts of Zote the Mighty and see what wisdom, if any, there is to glean from them. Precept 1. Always win your battles. Losing a battle earns you nothing and teaches you nothing. Win your battles or don't engage in them at all. This is of course unrealistic. You can't expect to win every battle you get into, and there is something to learn when you lose, such as what you did wrong. Precept 2. Never let them laugh at you. Fools laugh at everything, even at their superiors. But beware, laughter isn't harmless. Laughter spreads like a disease, and soon everyone is laughing at you. You need to strike at the source of this perverse merriment quickly to stop it from spreading. There may not be a way to keep people from ever laughing at you like Zote suggests, but it is true that people ridiculing you is no reason to give up on something. Precept 3. Always be rested. Fighting and adventuring take their toll on your body. When you rest, your body strengthens and repairs itself. The longer you rest, the stronger you become. Obviously, everyone needs rest. Overworking yourself will likely only lead to burnout and decreased productivity. This one is actually some good advice. Precept 4. Forget your past. The past is painful, and thinking about your past can only bring you misery. Think about something else instead, such as the future or some food. It is better to think about the future than the past, but you should at least be willing to learn from your past and use that wisdom for the present. So this one is about half right. Don't dwell on the past too much, but you don't have to avoid thinking about it entirely. Precept 5. Strength beats strength. Is your opponent strong? No matter. Simply overcome their strength with even more strength, and they'll soon be defeated. This seems self-explanatory, but you don't necessarily always need to be stronger than your opponent. Just make the most out of your strength to match theirs. Precept 6. Choose your own fate. Our elders teach us that our fate is chosen for us before we are even born. I disagree. This one has some merit to it. For the most part, you do ultimately choose what happens with your life. You don't choose the circumstances you're born into, but you do choose what to make of what you have. You shouldn't refuse to try something just because you think you're fated to fail. Precept 7. Mourn not the dead. When we die, do things get better for us or worse? There's no way to tell, so we shouldn't bother mourning, or celebrating for that matter. While it's true that we can't know what happens to us when we die, it's a little disrespectful to completely disregard the dead, so honoring them in some way shouldn't just be avoided. Precept 8. Travel alone. You can rely on nobody, and nobody will always be loyal. Therefore, nobody should be your constant companion. While there is a chance that someone on your side could betray you, it's ultimately better to have someone along to protect you if possible. There is strength in numbers. Just look at the different companion charms in this game. Precept 9. Keep your home tidy. Your home is where you keep your most prized possession, yourself. Therefore, you should make an effort to keep it nice and clean. Psychologically speaking, one actually tends to be less stressed if they live in a mess-free environment, so I gotta give some credit to Zote for this one. Precept 10. Keep your weapon sharp. I make sure that my weapon, Life Ender, is kept well sharpened at all times. This makes it much easier to cut things. Visit the Nailsmith, guys. It's worth it to have a stronger nail. Zote's giving us a hint here. Precept 11. Mothers will always betray you. This precept explains itself. Just because this applies to Zote's mother doesn't mean it applies to all mothers. Mothers can be abusive or neglectful, but not every mother is, and mothers aren't that way by default. Precept 12, keep your cloak dry. If your cloak gets wet, dry it as soon as you can. Wearing wet cloaks is unpleasant and can lead to illness. Mold, mildew, and fungus do actually grow on moist surfaces, so this one has truth to it. Precept 13, never be afraid. Fear can only hold you back. Facing your fears can be a tremendous effort. Therefore, you should just not be afraid in the first place. You can't really just make yourself not afraid. Sometimes you really do just need to face your fears to overcome them. It's often better than just refusing to face them at all or pretending they don't exist. Precept 14, respect your superiors. If someone is your superior in strength or intellect or both, you need to show them your respect. Don't ignore them or laugh at them. While this does apply to your boss so that you can stay employed, for example, you don't need to respect those who disrespect you. Gotta stand up for yourself sometimes. Precept 15, one foe, one blow. You should only use a single blow to defeat an enemy. Any more is a waste. Also, by counting your blows as you fight, you'll know how many foes you've defeated. Again, visit the Nailsmith. Eventually you'll get to the point where lots of enemies can be killed in one hit. Precept 16, don't hesitate. Once you've made a decision, carry it out and don't look back. You'll achieve much more this way. This one kinda depends on the situation. If things aren't going well, there's no shame in bailing if you can and maybe trying again later. But it's also true that you shouldn't overthink something too much while you're doing it if you've already thought it through beforehand. Precept 16, believe in your strength. Others may doubt you, but there's someone you can always trust, yourself. Make sure to believe in your own strength and you will never falter. Confidence is a good thing, but not overconfidence. Everyone has strengths, and trusting yourself to use that strength well is good, but it doesn't compensate for strength you may not have, like Zote himself often tries to do. Precept 18, seek truth in the darkness. This precept also explains itself. It really doesn't, Zote, but in terms of the game's lore, the Abyss has multiple things needed for the true ending, such as the Shade Cloak and Void Heart. Plus, it's here that the knight finds the truth of their origin. I don't think this is what Zote was talking about here, though. Precept 19, if you try, succeed. If you're going to attempt something, make sure you achieve it. If you do not succeed, then you have actually failed. Avoid this at all costs. It's just like with Precept 1. You can't always expect to do everything perfectly the first time. You just gotta keep improving and trying again, all the while learning from what you did wrong. That's what really counts. Precept 20, speak only the truth. When speaking to someone, it is courteous and also efficient to speak truthfully. Beware though that speaking truthfully may make you enemies. This is something you'll have to bear. This one's reasonable. It's morally good to tell the truth, but some may not like you for it. Really, it's most likely the truth itself they don't like, but they still may retaliate against you specifically. Not everyone follows along with the philosophy of don't shoot the messenger. Precept 21, be aware of your surroundings. Don't just walk along staring at the ground. You need to look up every so often to make sure nothing takes you by surprise. Well, this one seems reasonable. Look up and ahead most of the time, but also look down occasionally so you can see what's on the ground immediately in front of you. Otherwise, you might trip over something. Precept 22, abandon the nest. As soon as I could, I left my birthplace and made my way out into the world. Do not linger in the nest. There is nothing for you there. You don't have to move out of your parents' house as soon as you're old enough, even though this society kind of pressures people to do so. As long as you're contributing to the household, you don't have to leave until you're ready. Precept 23, identify the foe's weak point. Every foe you encounter has a weak point, such as a crack in their shell or being asleep. You must be constantly alert and scrutinizing your enemy to detect their weakness. This can actually be a good strategy for some enemies and bosses in this game. Few are completely indestructible, apart from things like golems and garpetes. There's almost always some way to deal damage somehow. Precept 24, strike the foe's weak point. Once you have identified your foe's weak point as per the previous precept, strike it. This will instantly destroy them. Again, it's true. Hit Moss Knights and Great Husk Sentries when their shield isn't facing you. Hit Stalking Devouts right when they open their claws. Destroy Crystal Crawlers with spells or Sharp Shadow. Do what you can do. Precept 25, protect your own weak point. Be aware that your foe will try to identify your weak point, so you must protect it. The best protection? Never having a weak point in the first place. Another unrealistic expectation. You can't be perfect. You'll always be vulnerable to damage in some way unless you're using an invincibility cheat or something. Accept that this vulnerability is a thing and then just be aware of it, like Zote says. Precept 26, don't trust your reflection. When peering at certain shining surfaces, you may see a copy of your own face. The face will mimic your movements and seem similar to your own, but I don't think it can be trusted. This may seem like nonsense, but remember how Nosk lures the knight into its lair? For all we know, Zote could have encountered it when he was in Deep Nest. If you're just looking into water though, it's probably just your reflection. Precept 27, eat as much as you can. When having a meal, eat as much as you possibly can. This gives you extra energy and means you can eat less frequently. Moderation is a thing to consider. You don't want to overeat, but you need to eat enough to have the strength and energy to get by. If by as much as you can, Zote means just the right amount for this, then yeah, but if it means gorging yourself, then no. Precept 28, don't peer into the darkness. If you peer into the darkness and can't see anything for too long, your mind will start to linger over old memories. Memories are to be avoided, as per Precept 4. The part of Precept 4 that I agreed with also applies here, plus we know from the lore that the Radiance uses what bugs see in their minds to manipulate them, so in this case, this is fair warning. Precept 29, develop your sense of direction. It's easy to get lost when traveling through winding, twisting caverns. Having a good sense of direction is like having a magical map inside of your head. Very useful. This applies to both real life and the game, pretty much just the way he says it. Thumbs up on this one. If you need a GPS or wayward compass at some point though, no shame in that. Precept 30, never accept a promise. Spurn the promises of others, as they are always broken. Promises of love or betrothal are to be avoided especially. You can't just refuse to trust anyone. That's not healthy. Promises can be broken, but that doesn't mean that every single one will be, as Zote seems to think here. Precept 31, disease lives inside of dirt. You'll get sick if you spend too much time in filthy places. If you are staying in someone else's home, demand the highest level of cleanliness from your host. It's true that dirty places tend to harbor bacteria, so that part is valid. However, it's a little rude to demand that someone's home be perfectly clean beyond a reasonable level. Precept 32, names have power. Names have power, and so to name something is to grant it power. I myself named my nail Lifeender. Do not steal the name I came up with. Invent your own. There are some cultures who believe in this kind of thing, and they're valid. In the realm of media and business, your name and brand have a lot to do with your image and marketability, so there's that too. This one's got some wisdom to it. Precept 33, show the enemy no respect. Being gallant to your enemies is no virtue. If someone opposes you, they don't deserve respect or kindness or mercy. This depends on the situation. Some people will refuse to hear you out if you aren't willing to do the same to them, but if it's something like Nazis, then yeah, no respect or kindness or mercy, like Zote said. Precept 34, don't eat immediately before sleeping. This can cause restlessness and indigestion. It's just common sense. From what I know, this is actually the consensus among experts. They also say you shouldn't go to sleep on a completely empty stomach though, so I guess that just means eat at least a couple hours or so before you go to sleep. Precept 35, up is up, down is down. If you fall over in the darkness, it can be easy to lose your bearing and forget which way is up. Keep this precept in mind. This goes along with the sense of direction thing. It works. Precept 36, eggshells are brittle. Once again, this precept explains itself. I would argue that this is so self-explanatory that it doesn't need to be a precept. You should be mindful when you're cracking eggs for making food though, because otherwise you can make a mess. Precept 37, borrow but do not lend. If you lend and are repaid, you gain nothing. If you borrow but do not repay, you gain everything. Borrowing without repaying is actually called stealing, Zote, and it's against the law. Even Tuck knows that. And you lend people things out of kindness and courtesy, both concepts that may be unfamiliar to you. Precept 38, beware the mysterious force. A mysterious force bears down on us from above, pushing us downwards. If you spend too long in the air, the force will crush you against the ground and destroy you. Beware. He's referring to gravity, of course. Another common sense thing. Don't jump from huge heights and expect to land safely. At least in real life. The knight doesn't seem to take fall damage at all in the game. Precept 39, eat quickly and drink slowly. Your body is a delicate thing and you must fuel it with great deliberation. Food must go in as fast as possible, but fluids at a slower rate. It's actually not a good idea to eat fast, which is something best not learned the hard way. Eat and drink both at a reasonable pace, not one or the other. Precept 40, obey no law but your own. Laws written by others may inconvenience you or be a burden. Let your own desires be the only law. I do believe in civil disobedience where necessary, but if it's a perfectly reasonable action like not running red lights or something, better to just do it, even if you don't like it. That's just life, man. Precept 41, learn to detect lies. When others speak, they usually lie. Scrutinize and question them relentlessly until they reveal their deceit. Like with the breaking promises thing, people lying is something that can happen, but it's unreasonable to assume that it happens every single time. You shouldn't be that paranoid all the time. Precept 42, spend geo when you have it. Some will cling on to their geo, even taking it into the dirt with them when they die. It is better to spend it when you can, so you can enjoy various things in life. This is another good advice one in terms of this game. Dying, of course, leaves all your geo with your shade, and if you can't get back to it without dying again, it's all gone. Just save up for individual items and buy them when you can. That way, if you lose some geo, it's not so devastating. Precept 43, never forgive. If someone asks forgiveness of you, for instance a brother of yours, always deny it. That brother, or whoever it is, doesn't deserve such a thing. Again, I'd say this depends on exactly what was done, and whatever you personally believe about forgiveness, I guess. You should be willing to forgive if something was not that big a deal and whoever did it makes up for it adequately. Precept 44, you cannot breathe water. Water is refreshing, but if you try to breathe it, you are in for a nasty shock. It is kind of a stupid thing that we need to drink water to live, but if too much of it goes down the wrong way, it can kill us. That's just life though, and it's common sense not to breathe water. Precept 45, one thing is not another. This one should be obvious, but I've had others try to argue that one thing, which is clearly what it is and not something else, is actually some other thing, which it isn't. Stay on your guard. It is true that you shouldn't let people gaslight you into not trusting your own intuition and observations, but if someone would know better than you what something is, such as an expert on that thing, it's worth at least listening to them. Precept 46, the world is smaller than you think. When young, you tend to think that the world is vast, huge, gigantic. It's only natural. Unfortunately, it's actually quite a lot smaller than that. I can say this, now having traveled everywhere in the land. This one's kind of vague. In the sense of outer space in the universe, the Earth is small in comparison, but when you're actually on it, then it's big in comparison to you. We definitely know that in the world of Hollow Knight, though, there are worlds beyond Hallownest. Precept 47, make your own weapon. Only you know exactly what is needed in your weapon. I myself fashioned Life Ender from shellwood at a young age. It has never failed me, nor I it. Clearly, Zote's nail being made from shellwood is not useful since he can't do any damage with it. However you get your weapon, as long as you don't straight up steal it from someone who needs it, it's gotta at least be able to actually protect you, man. Precept 48, be careful with fire. Fire is a type of hot spirit that dances about recklessly. It can warm you and provide light, but it will also send you shell if it gets too close. I think it's kind of instinctive to know that fire is hot and can burn you. This shouldn't really need to be a precept. Precept 49, statues are meaningless. Do not honor them. No one has ever made a statue of you or I, so why should we pay them any attention? There are arguments for both sides of this issue in the real world. I agree that statues shouldn't be made for people who don't deserve them, like Confederate leaders, but that doesn't mean that you can never have statues of anyone at all. Just take the context into consideration. Precept 50, don't linger on mysteries. Some things in this world appear to us as puzzles or enigmas. If the meaning behind something is not immediately evident, though, don't waste any time thinking about it. Just move on. Scientists would be upset at hearing this. There's nothing wrong with being curious about something and wanting to learn more about it. Precept 51, nothing is harmless. Given the chance, everything in this world will hurt you. Friends, foes, monsters, uneven paths. Be suspicious of them all. As I said before, you shouldn't be too paranoid about everything all the time. Some things can and will hurt you, but not every single thing in existence. Just be reasonable about letting your guard down. Precept 52, beware the jealousy of fathers. Fathers believe that because they created us, we must serve them and never exceed their capabilities. If you wish to forge your own path, you must vanquish your father, or simply abandon him. I don't condone patricide, but it is true that you don't have to live your life according to someone's expectations of you, fathers included. Precept 53, do not steal the desires of others. Every creature keeps their desires locked up inside of themselves. If you catch a glimpse of another's desires, resist the urge to claim them as your own. It will not lead you to happiness. Zote may be onto something here. Just because other people want something doesn't mean that you have to want it too, but it also doesn't mean that you can't ever want something that other people also want. Precept 54, if you lock something away, keep the key. Nothing should be locked away forever, so hold on to your keys. You will eventually return and unlock everything you hid away. Tell that to the Pale King sealing away the Hollow Knight, unless you count the Dreamers as keys, I guess. But yeah, I guess in general, you should make sure you can unlock something in case you need to get to it for any reason. Precept 55, bow to no one. There are those in this world who would impose their will on others. They claim ownership over your food, your land, your body, and even your thoughts. They have done nothing to earn these things. Never bow to them and make sure to disobey their commands. If this is meant to be against something like capitalism, authoritarianism, or colonialism, I'm all for it. Who knows what Zote ever really means or is referring to, though. Precept 56, do not dream. Dreams are dangerous things. Strange ideas, not your own, can worm their way into your mind. But if you resist those ideas, sickness will rack your body. Best not to dream at all, like me. This is very obviously about the infection. Interesting that Zote of all characters would give us relevant lore like this. But not having any dreams or desires at all is yet another unreasonable expectation. And the Radiance will get you whether you give in to your desires or not, but she's a higher being. What can you do, other than use the void to destroy her? Precept 57, obey all precepts. Most importantly, you must commit all of these precepts to memory and obey them all unfailingly, including this one. My analysis of this precept actually makes for a pretty good conclusion to this video. Some of the precepts are definitely good advice, some could be good advice if taken a certain way, and some shouldn't be followed at all. So this precept specifically I have to disagree with. But I will admit, Zote, the specific precepts that are actually useful are worth obeying and keeping in mind. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share it if you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.